Can you use Lego as wargaming terrain? Well, that is what I am here to find out today. I'm Angela, and welcome to Hobby Night. As you may or may not know, I have been absolutely obsessed with Lego Star Wars, Lego, and just Star Wars in general, which has meant that as I've been working on my Star Wars Legion miniatures and building up my Star Wars Lego sets, the minifigs and miniatures had ended up on my desk at the same time. And I noticed something as I was staring at them, looking at them very cutely together. They're almost the same size. In fact, if you compare them, the minifigs are only slightly taller and slightly chunkier than the Star Wars Legion miniatures. If you then compare the minifigs to, say, Warhammer 40k miniatures, they're even closer in scale. And we all know that Shatterpoint is out today, and those miniatures are supposed to be even larger than the Legion miniatures, or 40k. So they might even be a better scale. So that got me thinking, can I actually justify buying a bunch more Lego Star Wars to be used as wargaming terrain? Well, in order to test that, I decided to go to my local Lego shop and pick up the Mos Eisley Cantina to give it a try.
So you just opened the instructions, and what was your first reaction?
This is a thick boy. Look at it. It's a single giant booklet.
How many pages is it? Or how many steps is it?
It is, hold on. This is the index. Oh, 555. Ah, yeah. Who's ready to build? I am.
The Mos Eisley Cantina was a delightful build, which I'm glad for because I was mildly concerned, much like I was when I built the Lion Knight's castle, that there could be some tedium involved in it because there's a lot of the same colored tan bricks, especially for the exterior wall. However, I really need to learn to trust Lego at this point because they always make it interesting to even build those mundane sections, and the interior on this thing was so cool to put together. I absolutely loved working on the bar, on all of the individual booths in there, because obviously you're getting little scenes, you're getting little like surprises as you're building the set of things that you would have seen in the movies, which I absolutely love when Lego does that, and Mos Eisley's Cantina is absolutely filled to the brim with those. It's such a delightful build, I'd highly recommend it. And now I have an amazing land speeder that I can use as scatter terrain on my wargaming table. I'm actually really pleased with how this turned out. I think it's gonna look great as scatter terrain on the board alongside the rest of the pieces, which we're gonna get to building soon. But I wanna talk very briefly about this particular build because I just thought it was really fun. I always love building Lego vehicles. The Star Wars ones in particular are great, but honestly, any Lego vehicle is really fun. I like the fact that this one ended up having a little bit of a yellow racing stripe, which was just a nice little touch. The front piece came together very well once I actually figured out how to put it on because I put some pieces on incorrectly, which was mildly concerning, but I figured it out and I really like the shape of it. I always really like when they get sort of unique angles out of Lego. And then the spoilers on the back, I absolutely loved. I had no idea what they were when I was first building them, but I thought the design was fascinating and I really, really like the look of this. I think it's, like I said, going to look amazing on the table. Let's keep building the rest of the terrain. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump into the video real quick to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications so that you never miss any of the hobby content that we make here on the channel. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Angela, isn't the Mos Eisley Cantina $400? And yes, if you buy it direct from Lego, it is $400. And that might seem a little expensive for wargaming terrain. However, Lego has a built-in system where you can actually get a little bit of money back on your Lego sets. And here is how, because you see the minifigs. This is what everybody is after. Everybody who collects Lego is obsessed with these little figures, myself included.
Yeah, you are.
But that means, because everybody is so obsessed with them, that they actually sell for quite the pretty penny. In fact, if you were to sell the entirety of all of the minifigs that came in the Mos Eisley Cantina, this lovely set here, which I think has like 22 minifigs in it, you can actually get up to $220 back. You can also find this exact same set cheaper on sites like Bricklink for $370. So let's assume you bought it at a cheaper price, that $370. You didn't feel like keeping your minifigs, you sold all those. You're like, cool, got rid of that, you got $220 back. That means you only actually spent $150 on this terrain. And I don't know, to me, that's a pretty good deal. You got to build it, possibly with family or friends, and now you're getting to use it on your wargaming table. I think that is fantastic, and we can even do something to add to our table with those savings. All right, we've saved some money by selling all of our minifigs. You got $220 extra, and you might be looking at your table going, Mos Eisley's Cantina is great, but I want even more line of sight blocking terrain. Well, don't worry, with that $220, you can go and get some more Lego sets and continue to fill out the board. What I decided to do specifically was grab Boba Fett's throne room, because I figured, well, Mos Eisley's Cantina is on Tatooine, Boba Fett's throne room is on Tatooine, and they work really well together. And frankly, the build for the Boba Fett's throne room was very similar to Mos Eisley's Cantina, just at a much smaller scale and with a lot less interior work to do, which made it maybe, I guess, a little bit more boring, but really it wasn't, because it was still a great build. And you can even sell the minifigs from this to save additional money. So if you are worried about the costs, don't worry. There's still some great minifigs in here for you to sell if you don't want to keep them. If you happen to maybe not want to add more buildings to it, but you still want more line of sight blocking terrain, well, you could end up going with some TIE fighters, or even putting the Razor Crest on the board. There are plenty of different sets that you could pick up to fill out your board, really make it as dense or sparse as you want it. And I absolutely love the flexibility there with these sets, especially since a lot of them can actually open up into larger things or shrink and close down into smaller spaces on your board. It is fantastic.
Okay, so I've brought everything up to my wargaming space. As you can see, to help define the space a little bit more, I've actually laid out a couple of my Warhammer boards that I got from a Kill Team set. I figured this setting would go with the Tatooine vibe of all the buildings, and I'm thinking it's looking perfect already. I've already put the buildings on the board, as you can see, and I'm really pleased with this because they're filling up the space very well, and there's even opportunity to fill it up more with just these sets, because Mos Eisley's Cantina actually can open up to become quite large. Sometimes pop pieces off, there we go. So it can be opened up like this, but I think I'm gonna keep it closed for right now, because I kind of like it taking up just like a big line of sight blocking area. Maybe something in this corner, and we'll go ahead and put this back on. Now, one of the other things we can do is obviously arrange some of these. I like this alleyway that we're creating. And for the throne room, because this has a little bit of an open back, as you can see, like that. Like that. I actually want to have it butted up against one of the edges so that we're not really seeing that, and it just becomes a nice enclosed space. So maybe something like that. And then we have a couple of little accessories that we can put in here. Now this is filled up pretty well, but I'm actually going to cheat a little bit because I have a couple of other sets of Lego that came with some vehicles that are appropriate to Star Wars, and I figured we're at a cantina. There's people hanging out here, right? They're at a bar. Make it feel a little bit more alive. We're gonna put some of these parked out front just to fill the space, create a little bit of scatter terrain. Maybe have two over here, and then that way we can scoot these a little bit more there. Put this maybe kind of more in the center.
You also have the skimmer that came with the cantina.
I was actually gonna get to that. So with the skimmer, I'm actually gonna park it over here to fill this board, this side of the board a little bit more. I'm liking that a lot. And then we have one little other skimmer. So I'm gonna put it here, like it's parked with this, and kind of like followed it in and everything. And there we have a pretty full board. We could even take this guy out and actually have him be line of sight blocking / scatter terrain on the board as well, and create some nice little pathways for our miniatures to go through. And we have this really nice thought out board that looks like a lived in space, which really excites me, especially when it comes to Star Wars and Shatterpoint and everything, because I feel like when you're on the battlefield with those games especially, you want them to feel a little bit more like you're in that world. You're seeing maybe the civilians and everything, disrupting all of that, because you get a lot of that element in the Star Wars movies and everything. And I just think it brings the game to life so much more. So now I want to put some miniatures on here and see what that looks like and get the full feel of, will this really work?
And now with all of our Lego terrain assembled, we can actually see how it performs on the table. And frankly, I think it looks amazing. I am so happy with this because what I had hoped would happen is that this would end up being a very easy way for me to justify buying even more, specifically Star Wars Lego, but even the Marvel sets for Lego, and really even the castles and all sorts of things, because the terrain works perfectly in scale with not only my Star Wars Legion miniatures, but it also works incredibly well with my Warhammer 40k miniatures, and Shatterpoint, I believe, is literally out this week. And because those miniatures, I think it's out today, yeah, it's the 2nd. So it's out today, which means I think they'll even work with Shatterpoint, which means that I just have so many more wargaming terrain to work with, which is incredible to me. It allows me to justify my spending still. I get to do this with a Chaos Cultist. If you have friends or family, you can absolutely do it with them, especially kids. Like, you got little kids, you wanna buy some Lego sets with them, justify it maybe to your partner, grab it, build it with the kids, build it with your partner even, and then get to use it on the wargaming table with all of your buddies. It's a win-win situation. I love the look of this. I love the way that it feels. Let me know what you think. And with that has been my look at whether or not you can use Lego sets as wargaming terrain. And I think the conclusion is yes. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Did you enjoy this? Would you use Lego on your wargaming table? You'll definitely be seeing it on my wargaming table in the future. And before I head out, I do want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for making it so content like this can continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. I have been Angela, and I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.
Oh! Hopefully we didn't break anything.
I think I did. All right, let's get this.
Keep doing that. Angela, you have a problem.
I did.